What happens when a narcissist attends counseling therapy? This treatment effective. Should I go along?
Listen up. I am going to say this once. If you came here looking for a gentle, hopeful video about how therapy can save your relationship with a narcissist, you are in the wrong damn place. Click away now, because today we're not talking about healing. We're talking about war. For too long, we've tiptoed around the truth. We've used soft words and clinical terms, but I am done with that. I am done watching good people get their souls shredded because they clung to the fairy tale that a few sessions on a couch could magically fix a predator.
Let's be brutally clear. When you drag that soul-sucking parasite into a therapist's office, you are not bringing a patient. You are bringing a master manipulator into a new playground. You are handing a master arsonist a brand new box of matches. They don't see a clinic. They see a stage. They don't hear a doctor. They hear a new audience to fool. This isn't a textbook lesson. This is a field guide to the psychological war zone they call a therapy office. This is for every person who ever sat in that room, watched that two-faced monster spin their lies, and felt the therapist's eyes turn on them with suspicion. If you've ever been dragged into this twisted puppet show, I need you to listen, because we're about to rip the mask off this whole sick charade. Let's get into it. How the narcissist controls the therapist from day one. The secret weapon they use to turn your counselor against you. Ever wonder if you are the crazy one? Even in a place that is supposed to be safe, you walk into therapy holding a fragile flicker of hope. But for them, it is not a clinic. It is an opening night. It's not about healing. It's about a hunt. They treat the therapist's office like a courtroom where they are both the star witness and the prosecutor. And you've already been cast as the defendant.
They walk in, not broken but brilliant, not remorseful but rehearsed, not looking for a doctor but an ally. That predator in disguise doesn't see a counselor. They see fresh clay to mold, a new judge to charm. Their opening move is a Trojan horse of lies, painted with vulnerability and a deep desire to get better. You finally get the guts to share a wound. You tell the therapist, your voice trembling.
Last week, he told all our friends my promotion was just a diversity hire, that I didn't earn it. It made me feel worthless.
And you watch as that two-faced monster turns to the therapist, their face a perfect mask of sorrow, and says,
"See, this is what I am dealing with. I was bragging about her. I am so proud. But she is so insecure, she twists everything into an attack. I feel like I can't say anything, right? I'm just trying to be a supportive partner."
And in that moment, the entire room tilts. The spotlight swivels from their cruelty to your insecurity. This isn't therapy. It's a masterclass in live action gaslighting. And the price of admission is your sanity.
So they've set the stage and cast you as the villain. But that begs the real question. Why did this control freak even agree to this charade in the first place? It is not for the reason you think. The narcissist's real reason for attending therapy. Hint: it has nothing to do with healing and everything to do with control. Have you ever had to beg them, threaten them, or issue a final, soul-crushing ultimatum just to get them into that chair? That's because the soul-sucking parasite doesn't see therapy as a lifeline. They see it as a ransom. It's not a path to redemption. It is a tactical retreat to prevent you from escaping. They don't go because they see the light. They go because they feel the heat. You threaten to leave. Their reputation is on the line. A judge made it mandatory. Therapy, for them, is a strategic performance. It's a box to check, a hoop to jump through, a show to put on so they can turn to you later and say, "I am trying." It is not about a journey of self-discovery. It is about a cold, calculated campaign of self-preservation.
It is a hostage negotiation where your hope is the currency. They offer the illusion of change in exchange for your continued presence.
You remember that night? The one where you finally had your bags packed, and in a wave of cold panic, that control freak looked at you with those hollow, performative tears. Then they delivered the line they knew you were starving to hear.
Okay, you win. I'll go. I'll do the stupid therapy. Are you happy now? I'll do whatever it takes to keep you.
Listen to that. Not I need help. Not let's heal us. It is you win. It was never about a partnership. It was about a power struggle. They aren't there to heal the relationship. They're there to repair the cage.
So they're in the chair, not for healing, but for control. They've agreed to play the game. But what does that game actually look like? What happens when the therapist starts asking the hard questions?
Their performance is even more sickening than you can imagine. How a narcissist acts during a counseling session.
The twisted 380 they use to look like the victim.
Ever felt like you were watching an Oscar-worthy performance and paying for it by the hour? In that therapy room, that predator in disguise doesn't just play a role. They direct the entire production. They aren't there to be vulnerable. They are there to build a fortress around their ego, using the therapist's empathy as bricks and mortar. They don't just talk. They weave a narrative. They don't just answer questions. They deflect and dismantle your reality. They don't just admit fault. They reassign it. Their entire presence is a 380 play of manipulation. Act 1, charm the therapist. Act 2, present a heartbreaking backstory. Act 3, expertly pin all current problems on you. Their confessions are not admissions of guilt. They are carefully crafted accusations. They are a smokescreen of fake accountability, designed to hide the fire of their abuse.
The therapist asks them about their anger. You hold your breath, a dangerous spark of hope igniting in your chest.
Finally, then that gaslight guru, with a world-weary sigh, turns to the therapist and says,
Yes, I admit, I did raise my voice. But you have to understand the pressure I am under. She knows exactly which buttons to push. I've asked her, begged her, not to. But it's like she enjoys getting a reaction out of me.
And just like that, the script is flipped. Their rage is no longer their responsibility. It is a reaction that you provoked. They aren't in therapy to be a patient. They're there to be the puppet master. And they just made the therapist one of their puppets.
They don't just deflect blame. They become masters of the therapeutic language itself. They don't just avoid the lessons. They absorb the vocabulary. And what they do with that new knowledge is one of their most evil tricks yet. How narcissists weaponize therapy language against you.
They don't learn the concepts. They just steal the words to hurt you.
Did you ever pray that therapy would arm them with tools for empathy and connection?
Be warned. They don't go to therapy to build a bridge. They go to an armory to gather new weapons. They are expert students, but they aren't studying to heal. They are studying you.
That emotional leech listens intently to words like boundaries, triggers, gaslighting, and projection. But they don't see a path to self-awareness. They see a shiny new vocabulary of abuse. These sacred concepts meant for healing are twisted into psychological shivs to stab you with when you least expect it. Suddenly, their neglect is them setting a healthy boundary. Your righteous anger is a trauma response that you need to handle. When you call out their lies, they calmly accuse you of projecting. It's a disgusting perversion, a sacrilege against the very idea of healing. You try to use the tools yourself. You approach them gently using the I feel statements you both were taught. You say,
I feel lonely when you go out with your friends 4 nights a week and don't call.
And that fake saint, with the chilling calm of a surgeon, replies,
I hear you, but my therapist and I discussed this. I need to protect my energy and honor my own needs. This is me setting a healthy boundary. You need to learn to self-soothe your abandonment issues.
See the evil genius in that. They've used the language of your liberation. to reinforce the bars of your prison. You didn't just lose an argument. You were psychologically checkmated with a move you paid for them to learn.
But their most convincing performance comes when they pretend they're actually getting better. Narcissists faking progress. The breakthrough lie in therapy. The number one lie they tell to keep you from leaving for good. Have you ever seen them come home from therapy? Their eyes shining with a convert's zeal, announcing a breakthrough? For one fragile, hopeful moment, your heart stutters. You think, this is it? The miracle is here.
But it's not a miracle. It's a mirage. It is a carefully staged illusion, designed for one purpose: to reset your countdown clock for leaving. The narcissist fakes progress, like a poker player fakes a good hand, to make you stay in the game and keep betting your life. They know you are starving, so they offer you a beautifully decorated piece of plastic fruit.
They don't change their heart, they change their strategy. They don't find enlightenment, they find a more effective tactic. The breakthrough is a performance, a short-run play with a one-person audience. You, the second the curtain falls and you get comfortable, the real show of abuse begins again. They'll come home from that solo session, wrap you in a hug that feels almost real, and look you in the eye, and then they say it, the line designed to drug you with hope once more.
My therapist said I've made more progress in a month than most people do in a year. She said she is really proud of me. She really thinks we're going to make it.
It's a lie! Wrapped in a lie. This isn't a report on their progress. It is a command for you to stand down. This manipulative theater often leads victims to a dangerous conclusion that maybe they should join them in couples counseling. This is a catastrophic mistake.
The dangers of couples counseling with a narcissist.
Why it is not a neutral zone? It is their kill zone. Are you thinking about couples counseling? Are you actually considering walking willingly into that room with that two-faced monster? Let me paint a picture for you. This isn't a neutral zone. It is an arena. And they've spent their entire life training to be the champion gladiator.
Couples counseling with a true narcissist is not a peace talk. It is not a negotiation. It is a strategic ambush. You think you're bringing a referee into the fight, but you're actually bringing them a new ally. They will use the hour to perform their greatest hits. The charming victim, the misunderstood martyr, the calm, rational one dealing with an emotional partner. The therapist sees the mask, not the monster. They see the calm surface, not the churning, toxic depths. They don't see the silent treatments. They don't see the late-night rage. So who do you think they will believe?
You are in a session, your voice shaking as you try to explain the constant gaslighting. You say,
He denies things he said just yesterday. It makes me feel like I'm losing my mind.
And the narcissist, with the calm, concerned poise of a doctor, looks at the therapist and says,
I am worried about her. Her memory has been getting really bad lately. I try to be patient, but she gets so emotional and forgets entire conversations. Maybe we should look into that.
In one move, they haven't just defended themselves. They've pathologized you. It's not just ineffective. It's poison. It's abuse by proxy, and you are paying for it.
So if their therapy is a stage and couples counseling is a trap, what on earth are you supposed to do?
there is an answer. Why you need your own therapist? Your secret weapon? It's not about fixing the relationship. It's about surviving it. Are you feeling completely lost in the fog while that fake saint is off at their therapy, honing their manipulative craft? Then you must do one thing. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today, get your own therapist. This is not a suggestion. This is a non-negotiable act of survival. While their therapy is a stage, yours is a war room. While their therapy is a performance, yours is a sanctuary. It is the one place where you can finally tell the whole unvarnished truth without being cross-examined. It's the one place where you can say, I think I am going crazy, and have a trained professional look you in the eye and say, no, you are being methodically driven crazy. Your therapist is your anchor in the hurricane. They are your compass when the narcissist has spun you around until you can't tell north from south. They don't just listen, they validate. They don't just advise, they arm you. They help you find your voice. That quiet whisper of truth they tried so hard to extinguish. You'll sit in that first session probably making excuses for them out of habit. You'll say something like,
He doesn't mean it. I know he is just stressed. He had a really hard childhood,
And a good therapist will hold up a hand, not to silence you, but to save you from yourself. They will help you stop protecting your abuser and start protecting your sanity. Your therapy is not for the relationship. It is for your resurrection. But as you get stronger, you'll be tempted by another intellectual trap, trying to figure out exactly what kind of monster you are dealing with. Are different types of narcissists more treatable in therapy?
The answer is not. Stop trying to solve the wrong problem.
Do you find yourself falling down the internet rabbit hole at 3 a.m., typing in covert versus malignant versus communal narcissist, desperately hoping that your specific brand of monster falls into the treatable category? Stop. For the love of God, stop.
It is a trap. It is a sophisticated, intellectual form of denial. You are behaving like a prisoner who, instead of planning an escape, is redecorating their cell. It doesn't matter if the poison is arsenic or cyanide. It is still poison. Trying to diagnose their specific flavor of evil keeps you focused on them, on their pathology, on the insane fantasy that you can somehow love them into being a better person.
They are not a puzzle you need to solve. They are a threat you need to neutralize. They are not a patient you need to heal. They are a danger you need to escape. The loud ones and the quiet ones are just two different doors to the same hell. They all manipulate. They all lack empathy. They all feel entitled to drain you. You are trying to explain it to a friend, clinging to this false hope. You might say,
but I think he is more of a vulnerable narcissist. I read that they have deep-seated shame. Maybe if I can just help him with that.
The truth is, you are not their therapist. You are their food source. Stop trying to diagnose the disease and start treating your own wounds.
This brings us to the most painful truth. What success in their therapy actually looks like. Realistic therapy goals for a narcissist, the brutal truth. Why you are celebrating crumbs when you deserve a feast. Are you holding out for a miracle? Are you waiting for therapy to magically transform this emotional leech into the person they pretended to be at the beginning? Let's talk about realistic goals. I want you to take your expectations, put them on the floor, and then stomp on them.
A personality transplant is a fairy tale. They are not going to have a road to Damascus moment and wake up filled with genuine empathy. It will not happen. The best case scenario, the absolute pinnacle of progress, is a slight modification in their abusive tactics.
Not a change of heart, but a change of script. Not an end to the cruelty, but a shift to a more subtle, deniable form of it. Maybe they learn to stop yelling and start using cold, dismissive silence. Maybe they learn to say the words, I am sorry, but in a tone that makes it clear they're sorry you are so sensitive. These are not signs of growth. These are strategic adjustments. You are so starved for decency that you see a crumb and mistake it for a feast. You might tell your friend, your voice filled with a hope that hurts to hear.
He actually listened to me for a whole 5 minutes last night without interrupting, and he said he'd tried to think about my feelings. It is a start, right?
A start to what? Another decade of this soul death. just with better manners. The real goal isn't for them to change. The real goal is for you to finally accept that they won't.
But if you are in therapy with them, how do you even talk about this without setting them off?
How to talk to a therapist about narcissistic abuse? Don't label the monster. Just show them the scars.
Are you wrestling with whether to walk into that office and drop the N-bomb? I am married to a narcissist. It feels like a key, the one word that unlocks the whole horrifying truth.
But this move can be like throwing a grenade into the room.
Labeling them can backfire spectacularly. The narcissist will immediately seize the moral high ground, playing the victim of your labels and accusations. The therapist, trying to remain objective, may see you as hostile. You could lose the one potential ally you have.
So, don't play psychologist. Play the witness. Don't give them a diagnosis. Give them the evidence. Instead of saying, he is a gaslighter, describe the feeling of your reality being erased. Let the therapist be the detective. You are the one providing the clues.
Don't attack. Testify. Tell the story of your experience. Tell the story of your pain. Tell the story of your confusion. Instead of saying, he is a narcissist, look the therapist in the eye and say this.
I feel invisible in this relationship. When I talk about my feelings, the conversation always ends up being about his feelings. When I am proud of something, I feel like he has to one-up me or downplay it. I feel like I am not allowed to shine.
You haven't accused. You haven't diagnosed. You have simply painted a picture of the cage. You've shown them the scars. A competent professional will know exactly what kind of beast leaves those marks.
But what happens when the professional doesn't see it?
What to do when the therapist sides with the narcissist?
The chilling red flags that prove your counselor has been conned.
Is there a colder terror than sitting in a therapy room and watching the person you hired to save you fall under the spell of your tormentor? It is the ultimate betrayal. It's psychological hell. You went for a lifeline, and they handed the other end to the one who is trying to drown you.
This is the worst case scenario, and it happens more than you think. Some therapists are simply not equipped to handle this level of psychological warfare. They are trained to find a middle ground, but there is no middle ground between a person and their parasite. They see the charming mask, and they see your raw pain, and they tragically mistake your trauma response for the problem.
It starts subtly. The therapist suggests you are too sensitive. They push you to see their perspective. They start framing the sessions around how you can better manage your reactions to their abuse.
You are trying to explain how they control all the finances, giving you a humiliating allowance.
The therapist, with a well-meaning but devastatingly naive smile, turns to you and says, well, he says he is just better with numbers, and it is less stressful for you. Have you considered that maybe this is his way of showing he cares by taking that burden off of you?
That is the moment. That is the alarm bell. Do not argue. Do not try to win them over. You thank them for their time. You walk out, and you never return.
Getting out of the water is a powerful move, but the guilt can be immense. They'll call you a quitter. So let's be clear. When is it not just okay, but necessary to walk away? Is it okay to quit therapy that is causing more harm? Your well-being is not a negotiation. It is a right. Are you leaving therapy feeling more broken, more confused, more hopeless than when you walked in?
Is that emotional leech now using the therapist's words as a new whip to flog you with at home? Then you need to answer one question. Who is this really helping?
Let me grant you the permission you may not be giving yourself. It is not just okay to quit. It is your absolute right. It is an act of radical self-preservation. You can walk away from any table where respect is not being served.
And that includes the one in a therapist's office. Therapy with a narcissist often becomes a toxic echo chamber that amplifies their power. It doesn't just fail to help. It actively harms. It gives their abuse a veneer of legitimacy. They feel validated, and you feel more isolated than ever before. You owe no one an explanation, not the therapist, and certainly not the narcissist. Your only duty is to your own survival. You are lying awake after another brutal fight where they've twisted a therapy concept into a new form of torture, and you finally admit it to yourself. You think,
This isn't healing me. This is poisoning me. I feel more alone now than I did before we started. I have to make it stop.
that voice is your deepest, truest instinct. Trust it. Quitting a process that is hurting you isn't failure. It's your first major victory in the war for your own soul. This victory is the first step toward the only therapy that truly matters in this situation, your own. How therapy for narcissistic abuse survivors actually heals you. It's not about them anymore. This is your resurrection, so let's forget about them. What about you? After years of living in their shadow, what does your healing look like? Therapy for a survivor isn't about navigating a relationship. It is about drawing a map back to yourself.
It is about finding a safe space to be angry, not just annoyed, but volcanically, righteously, beautifully enraged at what was stolen from you.
It is about grieving. Grieving the love you thought was real. Grieving the years you lost. Grieving the person you were before they began their erosion. It's a funeral for a lie. Therapy for you is an act of reconstruction. It is about rebuilding your self-worth brick by painful brick. It is about learning to trust your own gut again after they taught you it was a liar. It is about setting boundaries not as fences but as fortress walls. It is an act of remembering. It is remembering your own laugh. It is remembering your own dreams. It is remembering your own power. In a quiet moment, your therapist will ask the question that changes everything. They won't ask about him. They'll look at you and ask, forget about them for a moment. What do you want? What brings you joy? And the silence that follows might be terrifying, because you may not know the answer anymore. But that question is the first seed. It's the start of a garden that is only yours. Therapy is where you stop being a character in their story and finally become the author of your own. And from that place of strength, you can finally answer the last lingering question. Final verdict. Is couples counseling with a narcissist worth it?
The answer is no. Don't bring a medic to a gunfight.
So we come to the final question. After all this, is it ever worth it? Is it ever worth trying couples counseling with that soul-sucking parasite? The answer is as simple as it is brutal. Now,
Trying to do couples counseling with a true narcissist is like trying to teach a shark to be a vegetarian. The very principles of the process, honesty, vulnerability, mutual respect, shared responsibility, are a foreign language to them. They don't want a resolution. They want a surrender.
your surrender. Don't bring a medic to a gunfight. You are not in a partnership with a communication problem. You are in a hostage situation with a captor. The odds of a positive outcome are infinitesimally small, and the risk of further psychological damage is enormous. Stop trying to fix them. Stop trying to heal the relationship. The relationship was the illusion. The abuse is the reality. Take the time, the money, the energy, the hope you would have poured into that black hole of couples counseling and invested in the only person who can actually be saved. You are not a rehabilitation center for a damaged soul. You are a human being who deserves peace.
Stop asking, how can we fix this? The real question you need to be asking yourself is, why am I still trying to redecorate a prison cell when the door is wide open?
Your job isn't to fix them, it's to forget them. Your job isn't to heal them, it is to flee them.
Let me scream this from the rooftops. The silence you fear is not a void. It is not emptiness. It is peace. The silence you fear isn't emptiness. It is clarity. It is sanity. It is the sound of your own goddamn soul, taking its first full breath after years of being suffocated. They've trained you to see a cliff, but I am telling you, it is a runway.
If any of this hell sounds familiar, if you feel that cage door closing in on you, listen to me. That feeling of having nowhere to go is the biggest, most evil lie that demon ever whispered in your ear. It is the final chain they use to keep you enslaved. And if you've known for months or years that you're living with one of these parasites and you're still there, ask yourself why. What are you waiting for? Another broken promise? Another fake apology from that two-faced monster? The time for waiting is over. The time for hoping they will change is over. The time for setting yourself on fire to keep them warm is over.
This isn't about changing them. That's a fool's game. This is about saving yourself. It's about arming yourself with the brutal truth so you can build a wall around your sanity and get the hell out. If these situations feel real, you are not alone in this war. Stop trying to be their doctor and start being your own rescuer. Stop waiting for an apology from the very monster who destroyed your past. You have to choose your future. You can and you will heal. You just have to take the first step. Today, thank you.